Hey, good evening. This is a little bit different than my normal videos. A little backstory on this car. This is a 2016 Forester that I bought a couple of years ago, needing head gaskets. Um, when I started it to drive it over here so that I could pull the engine out, it had a very, very bad rod knock. So I didn't do anything with it that day. Started looking for an engine, found an engine, put it in. Actually, I had Marc help me put it in, and that was the first time that he'd ever changed an engine. So since then, uh, the car runs, drives. I drove it in here, but it sat long enough that it needs brakes. So we're going to do brakes on it. We're going to do rear quick struts. There is a recall on the springs. I do have a broken one, but by the time you get messing around with the dealer and all that fun stuff, it was just as cheap and easy for me to put a set of quick struts on it. So I got things all set up here. I got my jack stands, my impact, and we should be about ready to roll. So let's do this. This does only have 2 lug nuts on it because I had pulled the wheels and tires that were on it to put on the old lady's car. And we are now putting those back on this car. All right, let's see what we need for tools to pull the calipers off. Oh, come on. All right, so we'll get the caliper off. Got my caliper spreader while I was out. Yeah, those are crusty. Yeah, those were due to be replaced. Now, let's see how big of a breaker bar we need to get the caliper bracket off. I'm going to need an extension there. When all else fails, get the weasel snot. And it feels like I might be running out. Not exactly the wrench I wanted, but it might do the trick. Yep. She is dry. Ever have a bad idea? This is called "You Will Come Off There." See how much I can straighten this handle out so I'm not a real screwy angle. Oh, here. That's not a bad idea. Turn the wheel a little, so I can straighten this handle out a little more. I'm gonna end up taking all the paint off that damn fender. See if we can rotate this a little bit. I'll just use the actual steering wheel. Here goes a bad idea. Good news, it's moving. Our slides seem good. Let's see if we can use the short ratchet. I can actually get it. Oh, yeah. You can swing on it. Ooh, that's tight. We'll just work this back and forth so we don't break anything. The last thing I want is a caliper bracket bolt busted off in the knuckle. While that may be exciting for you, it's just going to make me angry. Hot damn. There. Brackets off. Now let's see if we get a bolt to get the rotor off. Unless we can thump it. Ooh, we can thump it. That leaves a lot to be desired. Now, we'll open up the new rotor. Actually, I'm going to use this partial can I have first. And for what it's worth, I probably should wipe that dry, but it's going to sit on the car long enough while I'm messing around with the caliper bracket. It doesn't matter. All right, I'll pull these old clips out. Those will go right in the round file. Speaking of files, we're going to take our handy dandy file. We're just going to clean the rust out of here. What happens is, in here will corrode and it'll swell up and it'll make it so your pads won't slide. So I like to run a file across them, clean them up, get them down to good clean metal. And I'm going to get just a dab of grease. I just put a little bit on that bare metal just to save it just a wee bit from rusting. I know it'll probably get hot and melt off, I get it, but it makes me feel a little bit better. I might want to clean that hole up while I'm at it. Let me get a round file and we'll do just that. May as well clean them both up. We're right here. Not going to get any closer. Just precaution for the next guy. We'll weasel snot around the wheel bearing bolts. Shouldn't make much of a difference. The wheel bearings aren't bad, but somebody may have to change them at some point. No sense making it hard on them. I can promise you I never get the ratcheting wrench going the right direction the first time. I'm positive there's an actual torque spec for these somewhere. I don't have it. I've never used one. Just kind of tightened them till they felt right. Let's put the pads in. Looks like all 4 of these have squealers on them. That is not always the case. Now the trick is, yeah, I don't have that pushed back nearly enough. Well, let's see if we can get the pistons pushed back a little bit further. They are going. Oh, yeah. We're good. We good. I almost didn't get pads for this. Glad I did. Those other ones are pretty crusty. Tight. Make sure after you do a brake job, you always pump the brakes once before you put it in gear, because that pedal will go right to the floor. All right, we can put a tire back on. By a quick rough count, I might even be short 1 lug nut. There we go. I will torque the lug nuts. On this particular car, those go to 100 foot-pounds. I usually go a little bit overkill, and I'll usually go 105, and then I'll re-torque them after 20, 30 miles, something like that. Make a quick trip to town, because I have seen the aluminum wheels loosen up several times. Well, there we go. There's one side, all done. Let's put her on the ground. Ooh. No, let's not put it on the ground. Let's get the jack stand out. Here we are on the other side, and on the rear we have less room and worse lighting. So we're going to do same as the front. We're going to do rotors, pads, clean up the brackets. Then we're also going to do the struts. This spring here is good. The one on the other side is broken, and I'll show you that when I get to that side. I've gone ahead and air coiled a whole bunch of stuff, and we will see what we can do to get this taken apart. Hang tight. Alright, same process as before. Got the 14mm head bolts here. Caliper comes off. Tuck that in there for right now. Let's see if these bolts will come loose. Oh man. I would say these rears were ready to be changed even before they got rusty. Oof, kind of gross. Go in the metal bucket. Slides seem to be good, so we'll go clean that up. Before we do that, we'll take this off. Now, this has got an e-brake in it, so there's a set of shoes in here. And I believe that it takes a couple of M8 bolts here and here. And we're not even going to play with them. We're just gonna wind the impact to them. And we're going to get a couple longer bolts. That feels like I'm going to need an e-brake hardware kit. Oh yeah. We got some busted e-brake stuff. And I have in the past tried to quickly repair these with the welder, and I have failed miserably. So that's supposed to have a wider head on it right there, so that it can't pull through. Put it in, twist it, so it can't pull through. That's not the case with this. So that means I'm not going to be able to finish this evening. Awesome. But what we can do, we can get this strut out. I say that like I know for certain that I can get the strut out. Let's see how bad it's in there. No way. No way. Okay. That bolt came out entirely too easy. Now let's try the uppers. And I've taken all the spare tire stuff out. And we we have this nut and this nut will unbolt the top of the strut. But that would probably be my easiest solution, is popping this bolt out here. Well, it spins. Let's see if we can come unhooked. Ooh. You know it's good when the steam's coming right off of it. Well, that's good news and bad news all at the same time. Got a ratcheting wrench on it. And now I got the bolt backed out far enough that I can't get the wrench off, and it only spins one way. Oh, I'm gonna have to get a second jack, aren't I? There we go. So it looks like I may have to jack up on the knuckle, unless I can get this beat forward a little bit. So I got an interference issue with where the other tab is on the knuckle and the bolt head. How in the sweet love of monkey nuts does that fit in there? Well, that doesn't do me any good either. Apparently I got the farts. I don't want to take it off that jack with this one. There we go. We out. Well, good news. You missed a bunch of that because the battery died. There were a whole bunch of 4-letter words, a little bit of screaming, but the strut's out. Now, what we have here is a brandy new quick strut. Let's see if we can get this jammed up in there and bolted back together. I'm going to take the nuts off the top. And these are not side specific. They fit left or right on these. Okay. There we go. Oh yeah, that's going to be way easier. I don't know why I didn't do that to begin with. Now, let's see if we can put this mess back together. See if I can remember where I set the bolts that go in specific locations. Alright. So, this bolt should okay, that bolts in. wiggle ahead a little bit. If my pry bar will get in there. Maybe I could use the shorter one. A little bit of room to play. Okay. Now, this bolt is going to be the fun one. I honestly think it probably should go in the other way, but that's not how Subaru had it, so that's not how I'm going to do it. And we may as well get the sway bar hook back up. Oh, come on. I don't want to cross thread it. I do have to say I'm very, very pleased with how easy all of these bolts have come out so far. Not real pleased with how well my ratchet's not staying on. But now for the go mode on both of these. I know, again, there's probably a proper torque spec, but I don't know what it is, and this thing's really kind of stressing me out right now, so it is what it is. Tighten the two bolts up top, and then we'll probably call it a night, because it's who knows what time, and the parts store is not open to get me the hardware kit that I need. There's that one. I'm not gonna have anything for swing on this one, am I? Two-click wonder. Fantastic. Marcus, what are we gonna do?
Subaru.
What an idiot you are. Now, we actually have parts to fix the e-brake stuff that I broke yesterday. I got the other side all done. So we'll pop the tire off. Okay, now that we got a light, you can see here that we have a very bad issue going on with the coil spring. We'll start by getting the caliper off. I'm going to get this little rubber dust cap out here. Put it in here, even though it doesn't fit real well. There you have it. We got a quick strut, new rotor, new pads, and I didn't break anything, which is kind of amazing. We'll pop the wheel back on, charge a couple of batteries, and come back to you with some other stuff we need to finish up on this. Thanks. Alright, so we were a little low on coolant. I want to just check to make sure it doesn't have a coolant leak. So we have our vacuum here hooked up to it. I'm going to hook the air to it. We'll make sure that it actually holds pressure. I quit moving that around, we'll let that sit for a little while, and we'll have Marcus do something stupid. We'll be back. And no, I'm not using orange coolant. It's just the bottle I happen to have.
Say that was bone dry.
I'd say it didn't have a whole lot in it.
Now, once that sucks in, that gauge up top will have a different reading.
Yeah, it drops.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't that low. Okay, marvelous. On to the next one.
Oh, that's what you meant.
You know that's going to get left in, right?
Yeah.
Well, we found out when we were pushing the pistons and the calipers back that somebody had seriously overfilled the brake fluid. So we're going to draw some of that out, put it in Marc's Gatorade here,
And I will drink it.
and hopefully, oh yeah.
You ever seen liposuction done on a car?
Braco-suction.
Braco-suction.
Marc, does this remind you of holding the flashlight for your dad?
Yeah, but I always got sworn at. Beat.
The beatings will continue until morale improves. Well, that should be good there. Let me squeeze down on the brake pedal, then we'll have Marc torque the lug nuts, and we'll make sure that it's clean. Send her outside. Maybe we'll put the plow truck in. We're going to figure out how to make that run the right way, because it runs like doo-doo.